So what I'm making at the moment is chicken pie, and in here under the pressure cooker for 15 minutes are chopped parsnips, chopped carrots and chopped potato with one chicken stock cube, which is just, I believe, at Tesco's or Sainsbury's. Nope, Sainsbury's chicken stock cube, and 150 milliliters of water. Now, I didn't film putting all that in, it's a bit boring. And this is the leftover chicken, pulled off of a chicken, which we cooked yesterday as in the air fryer, as per the normal way. And this and that are going to go into a pie. Now I'm going to quickly make the pastry for the pie, put it all together, and I think I'm also going to add a can of, I think it's going to get a can of mushroom soup, and it's going to boil down in here for a bit, which I'll show you, because I'm going to try and make it a pie content. Now to do this, you cook all of this in advance, and then you're basically just cooking the pastry and reheating the meat when you cook the pie. Sounds very odd, but I really want the contents of this in here to be very, very cooked properly. And cooking things like parsnips and potatoes, probably 15 minutes was a bit overkill, but I want it to boil down. I want it to be very much very pie-like content. So not too much structure to it. Very soft vegetables, very like a good, if you've done a normal pie content, it'd be like a stew which you'd have cooked for 2 hours or more, an hour and a half in a pot. So that's why the 15 minutes, but that's getting on good. So now I'm going to go make the pastry, which is particularly easy and I do like doing, so I'll show you that now. Obviously, to do the pastry, I'm not going to be using this magazine, but I do find this fun to look through because I usually find things in here which definitely need to go on to Bad Food blog. New types of pasta, new types of gin. It's pretty boring this time. Now that's the problem with spring. Nothing interesting seems to come out in spring. The most interesting thing here is this, gnome from home. I hate spring. Right, let's get on with the other stuff. Christmas, other times of year, there's always new stuff coming out. You get to this point of the year and nothing new appears to come out. Really annoying. Mixing bowl. Measuring. I think I want 350 grams of flour. Because this is going to be a very large pie. Oh, maybe 250. No, let's go for 300. Right. 300 grams of flour. Zero that out again. I want 150 grams of fat. Yump. Yump. Is that working? No. Yump. That's 120. So, this is like 50-50 water and fat, so it's not quite as bad as it seems when you say 150 grams of fat. It's 150 grams of butter / margarine type substitute stuff. Actually comes down to it, that's like 75 grams of fat and 75 grams of water. That's going to give us there we go, just under 150. Just grab a couple more grams from inside here. You know what? That's going to have made it. Yay, 145. 5 grams isn't going to make a big difference. That'll end up going in the bin. Right. This part of the pastry mixing process can usually be done very successfully in a food mixer, but the mace the food mixer makes me upset. And I started on the wrong thing. So this bit goes a lot quicker if you do it by hand. Yep, shouldn't put your sleeve in there though. Going for the breadcrumb consistency, which is the start of about 15 or 20 different foods. If I add sugar at this point, I could turn it into a crumble. Could turn it into a sweet pie crust by adding sugar. Could turn it into a cake by getting to this point and adding lots of eggs. Right. Perfect breadcrumb consistency. And it's sticking together. So you get it to a point where it's like you can make it into a solid and then it breaks apart back into breadcrumbs immediately. And that's when you know the texture's just about perfect. And the fat is continually flowing around, and so is the moisture. And this is the bit where we add the water and turn it into a pastry. Now for this I'm going to go for about usually a tablespoon of water per 100 grams ish. So I can go get a little bit of water and see how much we need. So 75 milliliters, probably too much. Let's go for 50 and see where we go. Starts to clump together. We want pastry? Not quite yet. Now we're in pastry. Well, and that's the pressure cooker done. And that's the pastry done. I need to roll that out and flatten that out a bit, but I need to leave that stand for 5-10 minutes, and I think I've got a pretty good consistency there. It's nice and sticky, but it's not sticking to my hands. Somewhere around 60-65 milliliters of water into that. That's how quick and easy pastry is to make. Not going to separate this out into a separate video, but nice and fast. You can see by the mottling I need to do a bit of kneading to get it all into proper shape, but that's pretty perfect. Notice I didn't add any seasoning, no salt, no pepper. There's plenty of that in the pie. The seasoning would have gone in if I was using it to make breadsticks or cheese sticks or something like that. So what we've got here now is, look, there we are. That is the contents of the pie. It's a bit watery at the moment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this into the saute mode and boil off some of that water. So back on here, on high, start. Try and reduce that down a little, but whoops, we're basically nearly there. And at this point, I think to this I'm going to add the chicken so it can soak up some of those juices. And probably at this point decide if it needs anything else. I think a tin of condensed mushroom soup would not go amiss. This is what it's looking like so far. Remember, I've got a large pie container to fill, so I need to make sure that this is properly done. We're at like 1.5 liters at the moment, and that's pretty much perfect. So, good old Campbell's condensed mushroom soup is what I'm going to use. And unceremoniously in that goes. Let's get any extra that's hugging onto the edge of the tin with a wooden spoon. Oh, that's perfect. That just needs to boil down for 5-10 minutes and that'll be absolutely perfect. It's like a giant stew at the moment, which is what you want the contents of the pie to be like, but it's just a little too liquidy. But we don't want to pour off any of the liquid and lose any of that yummy flavour from all the vegetables. But that has made it much thicker. Perfect. Oh, still a little bit in there. Gonna rinse the can out and just add more water for my problems. So show you what it's like now. And we're getting there just a little too watery. Let that boil down for a minute. And then I'll be perfectly ready. And all the vegetables are cooked to perfection. Perfect. We'll come back to that later. So I've just started rolling out the pastry, just popped it down on the side, and funny thing is, I'm going to need quite a lot. Going to need a lot more than I thought I would. I'm going to have to cut this into 2 pieces. I don't need a knife for that, I can just use this. Right, which is the smaller bit, this bit. Right, the reason I'm saying smaller, it's just got less weight to it, is because that bit's going to be the top and this bit's going to be the bottom. That's coming on quite well. So I think we're long enough now, just not wide enough. You always need it a bit bigger than the thing you're putting it in. Oh, it's looking pretty good. A little bit longer. It's got the consistency of leather at the moment, which I've got to say is pretty good. What it wants to feel like is a good bit of sway. There we go. Remember, it will thicken as it cooks, so even if it feels a little on the thin side, come on, down in a bit more. Just tag it over the top there by squishing it down. Do the same on that side and then just shrinking a little bit. Got a bit of overhang at the end. Can tear some of that off and put it on the side here. Good thing about pastry, it's a nice forgiving medium. And if you've got bits that are missing bits, you can fill it in and remold it. There. Now, I boiled this for about 5 minutes. Added a pinch of flour, probably a few pinches, and it turned into this consistency, which is pretty much nice and thick, exactly what you're going to want for a pie content. But it's a bit warm at the moment. If I put it in now, I'm not going to be able to put the pie top on, so I've got to leave this to cool down for a few minutes. Because unfortunately, making it very, 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 very hot is not a good thing, because it's going to be very hard going to be very, very hard to put it in there. If I keep stirring this, it's going to cool down faster. When I put the lid on, of course, if it's this hot, it's also going to melt the pie lid as it goes on, which is not great. So, I'm going to leave that to cool down for 15 minutes and then we'll come back to it. Unfortunate that I had to boil that for so long, otherwise this would have been perfect timing. Okay, we are back, and I cooled this down by getting a bowl full of really ice cold water from the tap and just popping this inside it and stirring it for 2 minutes. And ta-da, it's like 3 minutes later and this is lukewarm. Because being a nice, really easy conductive aluminium container, this just, whilst I was stirring it, just draws the heat out very, very quickly. Top tip, if you're ever going to do that, make sure your sink bowl is clean, make sure you dry off the outside of the bowl afterwards, because this is food preparation, not cleaning up. But we're done with that now. It's still a little bit warm, but it's well within the temperature where I can fill the pie crust. And here we go. And as you can see, my 1.7 litre assessment was completely accurate. And it has properly filled with the pie contents the pie, and we got a little room left for steam expansion, which is important. Otherwise you're going to be spraying your pie content everywhere when it cooks. You only want a 3/4 to 2/3 fill a pie if you don't want it going everywhere. And that is 3/4. Well, actually that might only be half. Now the hard part, putting the lid on, because there are no second chances with this. It's got to be big enough to go on in one go. So we're going to film this part. So I'm trying to show you all the important parts of this process without showing you all the mundane bits, like, you know, me chopping vegetables for 10 minutes isn't really going to make much of a good video. I think maybe there's some of you out there that like that kind of thing, but if you do, tell me no and I'll open an OnlyFans account, but I don't think it should be on YouTube. Okay. I think that's good enough. In one go. Yay, got it. Perfect. Okay, a little bit too much there. That can come off and we can use those in the center. Right. For the rest, let's go around and crimp it. Just squish it, fold it down, squish it, fold it down. I'm not doing some elaborate crimping to make it totally airtight. I'm just trying to get it to look nice. I have heard that you can do it properly, you know, like you do with a pasty, where you work over it almost like you're braiding. You know, crimp over, crimp un, like that. So do it all the way around. It's an important part, making a pasty, but not so much on a pie. Just looking for it not to split open during cooking, not to be structural. Folding that away from the edge. And those two bits in the middle there are going to help support the hole which I'm going to make for them. That's to let any moisture out, and hopefully they'll there. So this goes in the oven on 160 for about 40 minutes. 40 to 45 minutes until ready and done. Let's pop it in the oven. And here we go. There we go. See you in 40 minutes. The pie is ready. Yay. Ooh, doesn't that look good? I'll have to bring it closer to the camera. I'm going to need a decent pair of oven gloves. A tea towel is not going to take that out of the oven. That is hot. Wait a... Oh, heavy. Well, it does weigh at least 2 kilos. Mmm. Pastry is nice and browning off. Everything's already cooked inside. The pastry is cooked. It's been 40 minutes. And wow, have a look at that. Right, let's get a plate and let's try some. I'll get mine and Maxie's out. He's going to need a large plate. Don't like this kind of stoneware that gets all of these lines over it. Tried removing them, they seem to be from the cutlery. It's really annoying. Right. Should leave the pie to rest for a couple of minutes before cutting it, but I think it's in a good place. So we have a cake spatula to kind of lift the piece of pie out. So let's go for a not too large a piece. Although given the amount of fluid on the inside of this one, I'm thinking it's probably going to need to... I need to get a scoop as well. I think this might come out easier with this one. Yep, I was right. Oh! Disasters everywhere, pie everywhere. Okay, gonna have to get Max's one out. There we go. The contents of the pie are just going to continue to come out forever till it's empty. So, Max, your lunch. Do you want to come down and get it? It's chicken pie.
Homemade chicken pie, I think so.
It is homemade chicken pie. Come get it. Stop hanging around on the stairs. There you are. You can go sit over there and eat it. I'm going to try it on camera. The contents are a little bit more fluidic than I would have wanted, but they do look yummy. Mmm. The taste is very chickeny. It's yummy. Mmm. Potatoey, chickeny, hint of parsnip and carrot, perfect.
What is parsnip?
It's a root vegetable. Root vegetable.
I thought you said root.
Mmm. Really nice. The pastry is perfect. Nice and light and crunchy.
You don't say.
Despite the pie filling being so liquidy. Mmm. Well, thanks for watching. This has been leftover chicken pie, cooked in the oven. I've really enjoyed making it. It's a long process though. It's at least an hour and 20 minutes work, actual doing things and not just waiting around. Probably about, if you include cooking the chicken and everything else, it becomes 2.5 hours, and you should put definitely less fluid in the pie contents. I mean, you can use this type of pie content when you're doing very few ones, but it's overly watery, so I messed up a little bit there. But overall, I think it's great. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video, and if you really enjoy my channel, please think of subscribing. And also leave a comment down below on what you'd next like me to cook. These long videos take a bit more time to do and a hell of a lot longer to edit. So feedback on what you want me to do with them will be absolutely fantastic. Thanks for watching. Bye.